More than 25,000 Russian soldiers and officers have deserted from the Central Military District since late 2024, according to Ukraine's main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense. According to HUR, between November 2024 and July 2025, troops from the Central Military District, one of 5 operational zones of the Russian armed forces, have illegally abandoned their units. The report describes widespread desertion across multiple fronts and garrisons. Ukrainian intelligence stated that desertions occur in different forms. Some soldiers abandon their positions directly on the battlefield, others disappear from permanent deployment points, while a portion fail to return from medical leave or vacations. Vladyslav Voloshyn, spokesperson for the South Defense Forces, said to Ukrinform that Russian units engaged in combat against Ukraine's defense forces in the Orikhiv sector are experiencing widespread desertion. According to our intelligence, the Russian 58th Combined Arms Army of the Southern Military District is operating against us in this sector. Within this formation alone, more than 4,500 soldiers have deserted their units and are currently on the run, Voloshyn said. He added that this reflects a growing morale crisis among Russian troops in southern Ukraine. Thus, up to 30,000 servicemen from Central Military District and the Southern Military District together deserted. In this case, HUR documented more than 30 incidents of desertion involving weapons or even military equipment between 2024 and 2025. The agency attributed the mass desertions to unbearable service conditions, including severe shortages of supplies, rampant hazing, and frequent deployment to so-called meat assaults, high-casualty frontal attacks ordered by commanders. HUR added that internal Russian military reports list failure to follow orders among the official causes of death for service members. Over the past year, more than 30 such cases have been documented, which indicates a systematic practice of executions of Russian soldiers who refuse to go into battle, the agency said. Ukraine's intelligence service has repeatedly reported rising morale problems within the Russian army, particularly among units replenished through forced mobilization. Similar patterns of desertion were earlier noted in other military districts, including the southern and eastern ones. Ukrainian troops have destroyed Russian FPV drone operators in the Russian-occupied part of Kherson region with the use of MiG-29 fighter aircraft. The operation was carried out by the crew of a MiG-29, in coordination with the Marines of the 34th Separate Brigade of Marine Infantry in southern Kherson region. A house with Russian first-person view, FPV, drone operators who were hunting Ukrainian civilians was destroyed in the Ukrainian strike. Despite Russian offensive operations, Ukrainian forces continue to hold positions on the left bank of the Dnipro region within the Kherson region. The right bank side of Dnipro remains largely under the Russian occupation. Earlier today, a Ukrainian military official reported that Ukrainian army units repelled Russian attacks in the southern front and eliminated Russian assault group in the operation on Sunday. Ukrainian aviation has increased strikes on Russian army positions in the occupied territories as well as in Russia's border regions. As a result of strikes carried out with Western-made aerial bombs, a significant number of personnel and military equipment of the occupying Russian army have been destroyed. It should be noted that more than 168 combat engagements with Russian troops took place across the front on October 19. Russia continued its relentless air bombardments across Ukraine earlier over the weekend, injuring 2 people after drones targeted a petrol station in the Zerikny district of Sumy in northeast Ukraine.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov on Monday praised the relationship between U.S. President Donald Trump and the leaders of Russia and Hungary ahead of an expected meeting in Budapest to discuss the conflict in Ukraine. According to Associated Press, speaking about the choice of Budapest as the next Putin-Trump summit venue, Peskov said that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has quite warm relations with President Trump and quite constructive relations with President Putin. That, of course, helped achieve the mutual understanding that was reached during the latest phone call, Peskov said. Trump announced a second meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin one day before sitting down with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Trump's announcement came shortly after finishing a call with Putin on Thursday. A date has not been set, but Trump said the meeting would take place in Budapest, Hungary, and suggested that it could happen in about 2 weeks. Asked about Moscow's expectations from the summit, Peskov responded that, "We would like to make some progress on the Ukrainian settlement track, and also to use this meeting to discuss our bilateral relations." "We are seeing very contradictory statements coming from Kyiv," Peskov said. "We are seeing that the Kyiv regime's position is also full of contradictions. All of this, of course, does not contribute to the peace process." He would not comment on media reports alleging that territorial swaps have been discussed. Asked whether there have been any changes in Moscow's position regarding the settlement, Peskov responded that, "The position of the Russian Federation and President Putin is consistent and well known. Putin has said that Moscow could accept a cessation of hostilities if Ukraine pulls back its troops from the regions that Russia has claimed but never fully controlled, suspends mobilization, and if Kiev's allies suspend weapon supplies."
С Орбаном достаточно теплые отношения у президента Трампа и очень весьма конструктивное отношение у президента Путина. И это, конечно, во многом способствовало вот тому пониманию, которое было выработано в ходе последнего телефонного разговора. Первое — это продвинуться по мирному руслу украинского урегулирования раз. Ну и также использовать встречу для обсуждения наших двусторонних отношений. Мы видим весьма противоречивые заявления из Киева, которые делаются. Мы видим, что позиция киевского режима тоже полна противоречий. Все это, конечно, не способствует процессу мирного урегулирования. Российская Федерация, позиция Российской Федерации и президента Путина последовательно, хорошо известна.